You've been told that doing nothing is lazy, that sitting still is a waste of time. But the truth? Doing nothing, when done with intention, is one of the most powerful acts of self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world, yet he often sat in silence to reflect. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, carved time out to be idle, not because he was lazy, but because he understood this one truth: stillness is strength. And in today's world, where everyone's addicted to noise and motion, doing nothing might be your biggest advantage. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the end, because this might just shift how you view productivity forever. Number 1, stillness isn't laziness, it's a skill. In a world that worships hustle, we confuse movement with progress. But constant action doesn't always lead to better outcomes. In Stoicism, the idea of stillness is not about avoidance, it's about alignment. Marcus Aurelius spent time in the morning doing nothing but reflecting in his journal. That pause helped him make better decisions throughout the day. Stillness gives you the space to think before acting, which is the cornerstone of wisdom. Doing nothing also creates a buffer between stimulus and response. Most people react impulsively to problems, but Stoics teach us to observe first. When someone insults you, do nothing, not out of weakness, but out of strength. You're not ignoring them. You're choosing not to hand over your power. That pause, that silence, is where real control lives. Take the example of Warren Buffett. He spends most of his time reading and thinking, not trading, not chasing trends, thinking. His billions were made not by doing more, but by doing less, smarter. Strategic stillness beats mindless activity every time. That's the game. Learning to sit with yourself, no distractions, no dopamine hits, is one of the hardest things you can do. But the ability to sit still, think deeply, and remain unbothered, that's power. And it's a rare power, especially today. Number 2, the brain needs space to think clearly. When you're always doing something, your brain stays in survival mode. Noise, social media, endless scrolling, all of that clouds your ability to think. Stoics knew that clarity only comes in silence. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That applies to your mind too. Listen more, think more, speak less. Do less. The most successful minds schedule time to do nothing. Bill Gates had his think weeks, 7 days alone in a cabin, reading and reflecting. That space helped him make billion-dollar decisions. You don't need a cabin. You just need an hour without distractions. No phone, no talking, just you and your thoughts. You see, the problem isn't that we don't know what to do. It's that we don't stop long enough to hear ourselves. Answers often come in moments of stillness. That clarity you're looking for, that breakthrough idea, that peace of mind, it's already inside you. But you won't hear it until you silence the noise. Doing nothing allows your subconscious mind to process, connect, and solve. Einstein said he had some of his best ideas while doing simple things, like walking or staring out the window. So if you're constantly grinding without pausing, you're not being more productive, you're being more distracted. Number 3, emotional mastery through inaction. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response. Stoicism teaches us that we are not disturbed by events, but by our judgments of them. When something happens, you don't have to react right away. In fact, not reacting is often your biggest advantage. That's emotional control. That's self-discipline. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. Your instinct might be to honk, yell, or chase. But what does that really solve? Nothing. Instead, take a breath. Do nothing. That's not weakness, it's dominance over your impulses. That's what separates the average person from the truly powerful. This applies in arguments too. The person who speaks less and listens more often wins. Not just the argument, but their own peace. Responding too fast is emotional leakage. Delayed responses are a sign of wisdom. When you pause, you see more. You hear more, you understand more, and that understanding is priceless. Think about elite athletes or top negotiators. The best ones are calm, unshaken. They pause, they calculate, then they strike if needed. That moment of stillness before action is where the real power lies. Train yourself to embrace that pause, and you'll operate on a higher level. Number 4, let the world unfold without forcing it. Not everything needs your immediate involvement. In fact, constantly interfering often makes things worse. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Let events play out. Let people reveal themselves. Let time filter the truth. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. It means trusting the flow, not fighting it. Trying to control everything is exhausting and impossible. Your job isn't to manipulate outcomes. It's to prepare yourself, control your reactions, and trust the process. When you stop forcing things, you make room for better outcomes. You stop chasing and you start attracting. Think about relationships. If someone pulls away, what's your instinct? To chase, to call, to explain. But often, doing nothing sends the strongest message. Silence creates space, and in that space, people reevaluate. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. But either way, you maintain your dignity. Look at nature. Rivers don't push rocks out of the way. They flow around them. The sun doesn't scream to rise, it just does. Stillness, patience, and non-resistance are the strongest forces in nature. Humans are the only ones trying to force everything, and we wonder why we're exhausted. Number 5, the discipline of deliberate inaction. Doing nothing is easy, but doing nothing on purpose, that's discipline. That's control. Stoicism isn't about indifference. It's about intentionality. When you don't rush to reply, when you don't act just to act, when you hold your energy, that's the highest form of power. This is what fighters do before throwing a punch. They wait, they read, they anticipate, then they act with precision. Life is the same. Act too fast and you make mistakes. Wait too long and you miss your chance. The key is to be still until it's time to strike. And when that moment comes, you move with certainty. One modern example is Naval Ravikant. He's an entrepreneur who talks about leveraged action. He spent a lot of time doing nothing, reading, thinking, reflecting. Then, when the time is right, he executes one move that multiplies into millions. That's power. That's the hidden advantage of restraint. So start practicing. When you're tempted to fill the silence, don't. When you feel the urge to respond, pause. When you want to chase, step back. Stillness is uncomfortable, but in that discomfort is freedom. And once you master that, the world starts responding to you, not the other way around. Number 6, rest is a weapon, not a weakness. In today's fast-paced culture, rest is wrongly seen as weakness. But high performers don't see rest as optional. They see it as strategic. The Stoics weren't fans of burnout. They valued balance. Even Marcus Aurelius, despite running an empire, emphasized physical and mental rejuvenation. He wrote about the importance of retreating into oneself, of stepping back to see clearer. Rest, when done with purpose, recharges clarity and sharpens action. Elite soldiers know this well. In special operations training, rest isn't just allowed, it's scheduled and protected. Why? Because when fatigue sets in, decision-making crumbles. If you never pause, you're not tough, you're reckless. True strength lies in knowing when to push and when to pause. Burnout doesn't serve you. Resilience does. And resilience is fueled by rest. Take Kobe Bryant, one of the hardest workers in sports history, yes, but he also had structured recovery routines. Cold therapy, meditation, stretching, rest days. Not because he was lazy, but because he knew longevity beats short-term grind. In business and life, if you don't learn to rest, your body will force you to, usually at the worst time. Doing nothing intentionally is part of a winning strategy. It's the reset your mind and body need to come back stronger. So the next time you feel guilty for slowing down, remind yourself, even the strongest swords must be sheathed to stay sharp. Number 7. Observation unlocks insight. Doing nothing allows you to become the observer, not the reactor. The Stoics knew that clarity begins with observation. Epictetus taught that we must first observe what is in our control and what is not, and only then decide how to respond. If you're always rushing, you miss the details. But when you pause, you begin to notice what others miss. Observation gives you a psychological edge. While others jump to conclusions, you hold back, not out of fear but awareness. You begin to see patterns. You notice motives behind words. You sense energy in a room before anyone speaks. That's not magic. That's awareness, and awareness grows in silence. Think about chess players. Grandmasters don't rush moves. They sit, they think, they anticipate. Their power lies in waiting, watching, and knowing. Life works the same way. When you slow down, when you do nothing, you begin to see moves ahead, while others are still reacting to the present moment. This applies socially too. The person who speaks the least often holds the most power. They observe, they listen, and when they finally speak or act, it carries weight. You don't have to be the loudest to win. You just have to be the most attuned. And that kind of attunement is born in stillness. Number 8, detachment through inaction. One of Stoicism's most profound lessons is detachment, the ability to stay centered, regardless of what's happening around you. Doing nothing, especially in moments of chaos, helps build that detachment. Instead of reacting emotionally, you train yourself to watch without being pulled in. You observe the storm without becoming the storm. Imagine getting bad news, a failed opportunity, a betrayal, a harsh critique. Most people react instantly, with anger, blame, or panic. But what if you did nothing? What if you paused, sat with the discomfort, and refused to let your emotions drive the response? That's Stoic detachment in real time. This isn't about being numb, it's about being stable. Think of a mountain. Winds blow, storms rage, but the mountain stands. That's what attachment looks like. The power to stay unmoved even when life tries to shake you. Doing nothing teaches you to anchor in your own calm, not external chaos. Athletes, investors, even spiritual leaders, they all speak of emotional detachment as a superpower. And guess what? It starts by mastering the art of inaction. Not suppression, but stillness. The next time life hits hard, don't react. Don't post. Don't respond. Just sit. And in that stillness, you'll find control. Number 9, reclaiming time in a world that steals it. Doing nothing is also a form of rebellion. In a world designed to consume your attention, refusing to engage is power. Every app, every platform, every piece of news fights for your mind. But Stoics believed your time and your focus were your most precious assets. Doing nothing is how you reclaim ownership of both. When you're always plugged in, you're not living your life. You're reacting to someone else's. Notifications, headlines, trends, they dictate your emotions and your energy. But when you disconnect, when you do nothing, you return to yourself. You remember what you think, you feel, and you want. This is why digital detoxes are becoming popular among successful entrepreneurs. They know that mental clarity comes from disconnection. Steve Jobs often walked barefoot in silence just to think. You don't need to go full minimalist, but creating intentional moments of nothingness gives your mind a chance to breathe. Protect your time like it's gold, because it is. Every time you say yes to unnecessary motion, you say no to deeper thought. Doing nothing helps you filter what matters from what doesn't. And once you master that filter, you become unshakable. Number 10, inner peace comes from not engaging. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every comment needs a reply. Not every injustice needs your energy. This is a hard truth, but an important one. Doing nothing is how you choose your battles wisely. And in that choice is peace. Seneca said, "What progress have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." And part of that friendship means not dragging yourself into every storm. If you've ever been dragged into drama, at work, in relationships, online, you know how quickly it drains you. And for what? Ego? Validation? Justice? Often, the best revenge is indifference. The best answer is silence. The best move is no move at all. Peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the refusal to let them control you. There's power in not engaging. When people expect you to argue and you don't, they lose control. When life throws chaos and you remain calm, you rise above it. That space between action and reaction, that's where freedom lives. And doing nothing helps you expand that space. This doesn't mean letting others walk over you. It means picking your responses like a sniper with precision. Emotional energy is a limited resource. Protect it. Invest it wisely. And remember, sometimes the most powerful move is not playing the game at all. Now that you know the hidden power of doing nothing, the question is, can you handle it? Can you sit still when the world is screaming for motion? Can you pause when everything inside you wants to act? That's your challenge. That's your edge. If this brought you value, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, true strength is calm, not chaos.